Hey, before we jump into today's episode, I want to share something special with you. As 2024 draws to a close, have you started thinking about creating your business plan for 2025? Is it even on your radar? Well, it should be. 2025 is closer than you think. Planning your year is one of the most important activities you can do as a business owner because it helps you set the overall direction of your business and determine the actions you must take to achieve your goals. I know that the idea of planning your year can feel overwhelming and honestly hard to quote unquote find the time to do it, despite how badly you want to gain clarity, set goals, strategize, create a business plan, and determine the exact actionables to take your business to the next level. Well, good news. I want to help you take the guesswork out of how to plan your year and rid you of the overwhelm that often accompanies strategic business planning. That's why I've decided to host a VIP business planning event in Las Vegas, and you're invited.
Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas!
During this intimate 2-day event, November 2nd and 3rd, I will personally help you plan your entire year over a weekend. You'll get 2 days of strategic business planning with me, a business blueprint, strategic planning workbook, all meals, including a special dinner and show on the world-famous Las Vegas Strip. You'll walk away with a clear, actionable plan for your business and a literal blueprint for 2025. Head on over to amberdelagarza.com/business planning. Again, that's amberdelagarza.com/business planning to get additional details and join me in Las Vegas.
You are listening to Small Business Straight Talk with your host, Amber Delagarza. Amber is a sought-after coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives small business owners the straight talk on productivity, time management, business systems, leading your teams, strategic decision-making, and mindset. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber Delagarza, the productivity specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Small Business Straight Talk podcast. Today is episode 342, Theme Days, Good, Better, Batch. If you're a small business owner who wants to learn effective business strategies, improve time management, and elevate productivity to maximize profit, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today, we're going to be diving into the topic of theming your days so you can take advantage of the awesome benefits gained from taking your time blocking from good to better to batched. Before we dive into today's topic, I want to make sure that you have taken my Next Level Business Owner quiz. In 3 short minutes, you can take this quiz, find out what's most holding you back, and you will get a curated, personalized playlist of the podcast episodes that specifically address those challenges. You'll get episodes that have resources, tools, and action steps you can implement in your business immediately. So hit pause and head on over to amberdelagarza.com/quiz. And now let's get to the straight talk. You've probably tried time blocking at one time or another. Perhaps it worked for you. Perhaps it didn't. Perhaps it was a total game changer for your business and has become your go-to strategy. Regardless of how time blocking has worked for you in the past, I've got to tell you that not all time blocking strategies are created equal. And finding a time blocking strategy that works for you, your workflow, and your business is the goal. So let's start off with answering what exactly is time blocking. For our purposes here today, time blocking is a time management method many business owners use to divide their day into specific blocks of time and dedicate each block of time to work on specific tasks or activity. Time blocking done right can provide you with the ideal structure and flexibility needed to maximize your productivity. Time blocking done right has numerous benefits, including improving your productivity, efficiency, and time management, helping you prioritize your tasks and projects, reducing stress by minimizing overwhelm, and improving your focus. I am a huge proponent of time blocking and also a specific method of time blocking called theming your days. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today is this specific strategy and how to make it work for you. So, what are theme days? Theme days are days that you have dedicated to batching a specific kind of task or projects. They can be scheduled weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, or on an as needed basis. There is lots of flexibility. And with any good strategy, especially a time management and productivity strategy, we need that flexibility to make it work for you. I'm going to start off with sharing a bit of the history of why I love theming my days. I'm going to pull back the curtains and talk to you about when I started time blocking, specifically theming my days, and what kind of benefits and how I saw that impacting my business. I personally use theme days and have done so since I started my business over a decade ago. At first, it started out not necessarily as a choice, but as a necessity for efficiency. When I first started my business and I was testing the market and building my clientele, I could only justify preschool for my son 2 days a week. So that meant that I could only meet with clients 2 days a week when I had childcare. Of course, I wasn't telling my clients, hey, I'm not available because I don't have childcare. That did not feel very professional as you're building a business. What I would say are things like, my next available day I can meet is fill in the blank, Tuesday, Thursday. Or I would just be the first one to offer days I was available by saying things like, I can meet you next Tuesday or Thursday. Do either of those days work for you? As my business grew, it was my goal to fill the entire day with meetings back to back to make the most of those days and most certainly most profitable of those days. When that started happening, I would then say things like, I'm available Tuesday at 10 a.m. or Thursday at 2 p.m. Because now it wasn't that I could just offer a full day. My business was taking off and I had even more limited access than I had before, which is a good thing, but I had to be very careful with the words I chose. So again, things like, I'm available at Tuesday at 10 a.m. or Thursday at 2 p.m. Do any of those times work for you? And guess what? It usually did. And if it didn't, I would look at the following week and provide that availability. Here's the thing. I was able to keep those boundaries to my schedule because I had to, because there was no other choice. I had to do it because I only had childcare on specific days. But now I keep similar boundaries because I want to. Not because there's some external thing like childcare saying I can only work certain days. This has to come internally because I have created my own boundaries of availability. And I've got to tell you, they have served me well and continue to do so. They have served my clients well when they implement this system into their business. And I think it can really serve you well too if you choose to implement this in your business as well. I want to take you back to when I was building my business and share with you another way in which I was batching my time. Of course, we're talking about theming days, but we don't always have a complete day that we can theme. So back when my son was young and still needed constant supervision other than the occasional, movie or TV show, I knew that if I wasn't taking advantage of childcare with my son in preschool, and I had my son with me during the day, that I needed to batch and work on my business some other time. And so I chose to build my business by waking up at 3 a.m. each morning to get a block of batched hours work in, that focused, distraction-free time. And I would work from 3 to 6:30 or 7, depending on when he woke up. And that was when I could batch like items, where I could dig deep into the deeper work that could not be done with a toddler at my feet. Because the only other time I could be working on my business was during nap times, which, with toddlers is hit or miss and the time changes. If, again, he was watching movies, or if my mother-in-law was available to come watch him and hang out with him. So I chose to build my business doing the office work or the working on my business during batch blocks of time in the morning. But at some point during that journey, it was clear that I needed more days. So preschool turned into 3 days a week, and then it turned into 5 days. And now, he had just started high school, right? But what never changed was that I continued to theme my days to get the most out of each day. So even when my availability expanded, I did not expand to where if I had 3 days, I'm like, yes, I can do meetings all 3 days. Or if I went to 5 days, I was like, yep, it's a free-for-all, meetings out of the office, in the office, work times. Like, I did not do that. I continued to create these theme days of stacking and batching client meetings, stacking and batching working on the business or marketing or other activities. Theme days have changed so many times over the years. As my business and life has changed, the version of what theming my days looks like has changed. But what has not changed is the underlying strategy of theming my days. To get an in-depth look at the strategies I use to schedule my time, I recommend listening to episode 230, where I go into the nitty-gritty of my schedule. Now, we're way at episode 342, so of course my schedule has changed since then, but you're still going to hear why I did certain things, how I build my block schedule, what I thought about when I make decisions about capacity. All of that is in that episode. In this episode, I want to share why I still choose to have theme days and why I think you should too. Before I get into all the benefits and ideas for how you can theme your days, I want to speak to those of you that may be thinking, this can never work for me. Or perhaps you're thinking, this can never work for my business. This is not about being perfect or having a perfect schedule. And yes, there will be exceptions, but not implementing these strategies because there are exceptions from time to time is not the way to go. Choosing to have exceptions in your theme days is a much more empowering position to be in than just reacting to every single day. Put yourself back in the driver's seat by taking back control of your time. And one more thing. If you truly cannot implement theme days because your schedule and business are so chaotic, I understand. But I will tell you that you can start small and start focusing on solving the things in your business that are holding you back from implementing a theme day or block schedule so that you can have more control of your business. That is exactly what I help my coaching clients with. So I know it's possible, and I know it's possible for you too. Now, jumping back into the numerous benefits of theme days. Theme days reduce context switching and allow for next level batching, which is basically just combining tasks that have something in common, which we'll get to later, into a single time block for ease, efficiency, and improved workflow. Theming days involves choosing a theme for each day and dedicating the entire day or a large portion of the day to a specific type of work or project. The first benefit I want to cover today is that it helps you create boundaries around the work so that your time can be used more intentionally. Say, for example, you had committed every Monday to being your CEO day or your day to work on the business and not in the business. And someone asks you, "Can I meet with you on Monday?" You can quickly and without hesitation say, "Sorry, I'm unavailable." And then glance at your calendar and ask, "Would Thursday at 2 p.m. work for you?" Thursday being the day that you themed as your meeting days. Or maybe you themed Mondays for all of the back office work, such as bookkeeping, invoicing, team meetings, planning project work for your team, and the like. Still, you wouldn't want to take that meeting that day, right? If you don't theme your days, or at least certain time blocks of your days, it opens up your schedule to just be piecemealed together and often squeezes out important time to work on tasks and projects. Theme days create boundaries around your work schedule and help you hold blocks of time sacred for specific high-value activities. If you have thought to yourself, this week, this Monday, this Friday, I'm going to invoice, I'm going to do bookkeeping, I'm going to work on my business in some way, like marketing or strategy. And yet, every week, every day, something comes up where you say yes to it. Someone needs you. Someone needs you to do something or be at a meeting. By creating these boundaries, it really allows you to understand your true capacity, because oftentimes we're not including that working on our business type of tasks and activities in our capacity of how many meetings are we taking? How available are you to do all the other things that people are requesting of you when it may not be top of mind? The tasks that do not have immediate deadlines, that the tasks and projects that are for you and you know they'll move the needle, but can get pushed to the side and nobody else knows. One way to protect that time is by creating a day or just a block of time where you're going to hold that time sacred. So I'm talking about an example of one day a week, but let's be realistic here. 90 minutes a week could be your themed block that you will hold sacred, that you are not available for other people's requests of you and other meetings. Next benefit is less switch tasking. Switch tasking is the act of rapidly switching between two or more tasks that require attention. This is often confused with what we like to call multitasking, which is the attempt to do multiple things at the same time. However, switch tasking is more like bouncing between tasks rather than focusing on one to its completion. Constant task switching negatively impacts overall efficiency. It diminishes focus. It definitely elevates stress levels and contributes to impulsive behavior. Hardly anything is more inefficient than switching back and forth from emailing to a phone call to talking to a team member to writing social media to project management, back to email, and so on and so forth. Switch tasking forces you to always think about what's next. Keep changing the hats you're wearing, go in and out of different software programs, and prevents you from getting into a productive work rhythm. We've done many episodes on multitasking, and we'll be sure to link out to those in the show notes. But oftentimes when we are stressed and we are not making a decision about what we need to focus on, our go-to is switch tasking. And for all the reasons I just shared with you, by theming your day or by theming a specific block of time gives you this focused container in which you are confident that this is what you're supposed to be working on right here, right now. And when you're done, there's another block of time or there's another day or there's another time that is allocated to those other tasks. But for right now, this is your highest, most important activity to be focusing on. And that really allows you to cut down on the switch tasking. The next benefit is greater focus. Let's be honest, we all want more focused work time. By theming your days, you are significantly limiting switch tasking when you batch your days. You're increasing your ability to get in and stay in your focus zone for longer periods and with less distractions, including your own brain. Think about it. Do you get the urge to check social media or go grab a drink when you're deep in your work? Or when you're switch tasking, which opens up time for your brain to wander and develop the urge to check social media or fold a load of laundry? Limiting switch tasking greatly increases focus and maximizes mental bandwidth. So, by reducing switch tasking and theming your days, you are now creating this environment to where you are not tempting your own brain to self-sabotage, to get distracted, to think about all of the other things, because I'm going to take it back to when you know that this is what you need to be doing right here, right now, it doesn't allow you to then wander off onto something else. Next, when you theme your day, it is going to reduce your stress. In fact, when you're stressed, most of us tempt ourselves to start switch tasking, i.e. multitasking. And when we're stressed, we think that that's not the time to have a block schedule and a theming your days. And I'm here to tell you that this is the antidote. By theming your days, you are reducing stress, because constantly switching back and forth between tasks and then shifting your mental gears, which can feel taxing on your brain, literally forces your brain to work harder, which makes you feel frazzled and overwhelmed. Theming your days helps reduce stress because you do not have to constantly think to yourself, what's next? What's next? What's next? Decision fatigue is a real thing that can not just energetically weigh you down, but create stress. The next benefit to theming your day is saving money. Yes, theming days can be a huge money saver. By scheduling all of your out-of-office meetings or coffee talks on certain days of the week, and especially by location, you're saving money. It can take a lot of time and energy and prep work to get out of the house and drive across town for meetings, not to mention gas money. That's why when you call an appliance company to schedule a repair, they ask, what zip code do you live in, right? And that makes sense to you when the appliance company does it. But are you thinking about the efficiency of batching your days, theming your days, and having an out-of-office day or having a out-of-office afternoon? And while this list is probably much longer, lastly, what I want to share with you is that it saves you time and energy. Let's be honest, some of your best work gets done when you're in your pajamas and in a messy bun, and it can save you 45 minutes of getting ready in the morning. I mean, look, when I think about theming my day as a work from home, right? So my office is at home. I think makeup and get ready days. What kind of work is that? And then I think do not have to have makeup and get ready days, and what kind of work can be on those days. And I know that that seems like such an unusual way of thinking about your day, but if I can save 45 minutes, get into the office earlier, and not have to do full makeup and get all dressed up, I would rather have those days batched together and then days where it's like, yep, camera ready, client ready, let's do this. And so that might be helpful for you, especially you ladies, that it takes 45 minutes to an hour to get ready to be client ready or video ready or meeting ready, whatever it makes sense to you. But it also saves a lot of energy, because I want you to think of this example. have you ever had a meeting and you're like, cool, I only have like one meeting and it's in the morning, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to have lunch and then I'm going to go to work. I'm going to get some work done today. And you go to that meeting, it's a 10 o'clock meeting, you're done around 11:30 or noon, you grab some lunch and you come back and you're frazzled. You drop the kids off, you were in traffic on the way to the meeting. The energy that it takes to meet with a client out in the field or out in someone's office is different. And then you come back and it's the afternoon and you think that you are going to have the best energy to do that focused, high value work. My guess is that's not happening for many of you. And to be honest, it wouldn't happen for me either because my energy level is naturally lower in the afternoon. And then if I add on a client meeting and I'm like energetically on all morning, to come back and do solo, focused, deep work in the afternoon is setting my schedule up to sabotage me. But what I can do and what works better is that I could do deep focused work in the morning and then leave at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and go have a client meeting and wrap my day up like that. Those are just nuanced tweaks that when you're looking at your ideal schedule, when you're looking at theming your days, to me, it would make more sense that you had a couple days where you were doing meetings or client meetings, and then you had a couple days where you wanted to do that deep, focused work because it all saves time and energy. So next, I want to get into ideas of what you can batch together within a theme day. And this all depends on your scope of work, your unique preferences, your unique skill sets, the type of work you do. But I did want to share a list with you just to get the ideas going of what you can batch together. So we've alluded to some of these in the previous examples of benefits, but let's dive into a more specific list of what can be batched together. Let's start with one of my favorites. I like to batch client work days and non-client work days, which often means working on my business and working in my business days. Energetically, I want to be completely focused and on with client working days, and I don't want anything else distracting me. And to do that, I have to carve out days where I know I'm able to work on the business. And that could be working on my business with regards to podcasting, being interviewed, interviewing someone else, doing bookkeeping. But for me, while all those things are important to run the business, I don't want that on my mind on days that I am focused on servicing my clients. And so that's how I batch it. For you, you may want to batch it because it takes focused, like creative work time. And going from bookkeeping and spreadsheets to creative design is not a fit for your brain, right? And so separating those out and understanding that you really need a day where you can get into some deep work. And then another day where you're like just moving through the task list and just getting all those little pesky tasks off. Those are great ways to break it up. And this is also, you can call it by breaking it up by difficulty, right? So you can have certain days where you're like, okay, I'm going to do longer blocks of time that are more difficult work that require more focus. And maybe a Friday where you're like, I had a great week. I've been focused all week. And on Fridays, I'm almost ready to check out, but that's not what I want to do. And that's not productive. So on Fridays, I'm going to theme my days of close the loop, wrap up, touch base with my clients, touch base with my team, clear the task list of those pesky tasks that accumulated in your inbox and accumulated throughout the week because you don't want to put that deep, difficult work on a Friday. You can also batch by date. So earlier in this episode, I said you could theme your days like Mondays could be marketing, or you can do specific dates. Like for me, the 10th and the 25th is always a block of time It's not the whole day. I only need an hour to 90 minutes where I'm doing financials, right? Bookkeeping, reviewing my profit and loss. Any tasks related to financials are on the 10th and 25th so that my bills are paid 15th and by the 1st. And 2 times a month is a cadence that works for me and my business. But perhaps you want to do a cadence of not by date, but by day, and say like it's Financial Friday, and you're going to tackle any tasks that have to do with financials on Friday mornings. So again, you can do by date, you can do by day. You really need to ask yourself, what is that cadence? And I've had clients in the past that have like themed their days and maybe they came to me theming their days in some aspect, or during the work that we've worked together, we themed their days. And when we revisit it, because there's not these huge projects or the cleanup has been done, for example, in financials, you may have thought that you needed it weekly. But once you were showing up consistently on Fridays and you got those projects cleaned up, we may realize, and I say we because this is the stuff I talk to my clients about, is like, can this move to twice a month? Perhaps, can this move to once a month? That's still theming your days. It's still blocking out time, but it's always asking the question, what does the business need now? And that can change from quarter to quarter, month to month, season to season, just depending on where you're at. And so even if a block schedule is working for you, this is just a little tip, it's always going to be revised. Even if theme days are working for you, it's always going to be revised. And the only way it gets revised is if we ask questions of, is this still working for me? Is this the most efficient way to do it? So those are ways in which I like to think about blocking days for myself and my clients, is energetically what kind of mental bandwidth is required, what type of work is being done, the days and dates. I think the next thing to share with you to wrap up is to give you like the hierarchy of what this looks like. Because we've talked about, ideal week, blocking your schedule, theming your days, batching. And I just want to tie this up with a little bow for you. So right now, what you may be doing is addressing your day in a task-oriented way. Is there's a task that needs to get done and it gets done. And they're all one-off tasks. And you could be going from, checking your email to returning a phone call to reviewing a contract to preparing a PowerPoint presentation to prepping for a client meeting, all in the same morning. And for all the reasons I shared earlier about switch tasking and wanting to have this ability of creating efficiency and focus, we want to leverage batching. And batching is putting like items together in blocks of time. And blocks of time stacked upon each other with a running theme is theming your days. So for example, in a day in which I'm theming to be marketing in my business may look like working on a podcast, recording a podcast, interviewing someone to be on the podcast, writing a blog, reviewing a blog. These are all examples of things that are under the theme of marketing. And yes, they are different types of activities, but I'm running that through thread of my brain, the hat that I'm wearing is marketing. The other examples that I've given you are blocking like types of activities together. So for example, I wouldn't be writing a podcast and recording a podcast if I wanted to leverage utilizing energetically the same type of activities together. What I would do is interview someone, be interviewed on a podcast, or record a podcast, because now the hat that I'm wearing is I'm podcasting. I'm interviewing. And that will create the momentum and the focus needed. Just like when we say we're going to be theming our days regarding client meetings, yes, you may be talking to one client about one thing and another about another, and the meetings are vastly different. But the through thread is I'm having client interaction and I'm on. And so that's the through thread of the theming of the days. As I've been recording this particular episode, I have, to be honest with you, recorded, deleted, re-recorded. And I share that with you because I really didn't want to make this confusing. It's actually a simple strategy. And what I found as I was listening to it and deleting and re-recording is that it may feel a little complicated because I'm giving you so much flexibility. I'm not saying this is the rule to theme your day. These are the exact types of activities that you put together that's considered batching. I'm giving you ideas because really the foundation is asking yourself, what types of activities go together that creates path of least resistance, that allows me to get in my zone and focus, that allows me to show up in the different areas of my business throughout the week or the month that I need to be focusing on. And if you can ask those questions and create a schedule that allows for that, essentially, you're batching, you're theming your days, you're creating a block schedule, and you're definitely working with your ideal schedule because an ideal schedule allows you to show up your best. So I really hope that this, end of the episode, pulling this all together, makes sense for you that you need to experiment. There's no right or wrong, but I'm a huge, huge proponent of theming our days and utilizing batching for every reason that I've shared thus far in this episode. I originally started theming my days out of necessity. And while you might not have an exact need that forces you to theme your days, I encourage you to give it a shot, even if for only one half a day a week, right? So this isn't all or nothing. This isn't theme every day or don't do it at all. Start with a half a day. Like I said, necessity got me started, but the benefits that I've personally experienced and my clients have experienced has kept me theming my days for nearly 14 years. So give theming your day a chance and start discovering all the benefits you could reap from utilizing this strategy. I have loved having you listen to this episode of the Small Business Straight Talk podcast, and I sure hope you found today's content to be valuable. But I need to be straight with you. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So I think that the most simplest, straightforward action you can take is to start experimenting with theming your days right away. Take a few minutes and think about what are some items, tasks, activities that you would like to put together in a purposeful way on your schedule. Start there. Experiment, see what works, and tweak as needed. And before we close out, I just wanted to say, if you have been thinking of hiring a coach, now is the time. If you've been thinking of working with me, now is the time. If you would like help with your business, time management, strategy, productivity, leading your team, then it's just a phone call. To learn more and to book a call with me, head on over to amberdelagarza.com/coaching. Again, that's amberdelagarza.com/coaching. Let's get together and discuss what working together might look like and if that's the next best step for you and your business. Be sure to share this episode with another business owner who you think would find it valuable. And if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss another episode. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.